Uh-oh. Something flashed on about the music and it can't and it won't.
Okay, well, we ain't even gonna worry about it.
You want to try it again? Can you is there a way you can
We're live. We're good.
are we live?
Yeah, it says it now we're live. So before we weren't.
Oh, we
So
are live.
we
We
are
are.
definitely
And
live.
here's Khalees. Hey Khalees.
We are live. Hey girl, hey. So welcome. Good evening. Welcome to our chat. We just saw y'all a couple of the other week. But welcome to our chat for Love's Encroachment from the Connecticut King series. You see, Love and I representing. We representing. We Connecticut King. So welcome.
My bae designed these.
She did. She did, and you should have seen us when she had it on and on the chat, and we was like, "Where's ours?"
Aw.
Like she was going, "It's so expensive to make," and we was looking at her going, I mean, when we was looking at the camera going like, "What you think? We ain't no broke bitches over
Yeah,
here."
because when you got yours, I said to her, "Hey, do I have one of those?" She
Right,
said, "Oh, I'll send it to you. I'll send it to you." So yeah, I was
right.
actually gonna wear this to Indie Love, and then what I was gonna wear with, I didn't like the way the bottoms looked on me, and I was like, "Oh, you're not gonna be doing. You're gonna be hot in Atlanta in June with this on." But I wore it today because Jocelyn had hers on, and how apropos.
So, welcome to our chat, our live chat on Love's Encroachment. Love knows that I literally just finished listening today. Like maybe 30 minutes ago. I just finished the epilogue like 30 minutes ago. So,
I've been listening since the day came out. I just
yeah, I just,
rewinded it while I was listening to it earlier today.
yeah,
Yeah.
I just, there was a lot going on. And the other day I was trying to get some stuff done and I was sitting in the living room trying to listen and somebody came in and wanted to help me to get some stuff. And I was just like, I can't listen if you in here. I need you to get. So, Love, tell us about Love's Encroachment.
So I've lots to say. Hang on one second. Because I think this is a different experience.
Mm-hmm.
And I know I don't think we've ever done, I don't think we did a YouTube chat. We weren't doing them then. So, is that me?
No, that's me.
Oh, so Love's Encroachment is an installment of the CK series. It's a part of CK4, chapter 4. I think it was book 7. I think it's book 7 when you go in order. And I was hearing from a coach. I was hearing from a coach. So I did talk to TTJ to kind of, you know, see how could this work. And we always talk and vibe together about how, we're going to bring our storylines together. And then came Lons. And uh I always go with Tina. Tina, she's probably in here. Tina is my saving grace for sports. I mean, there are a few other people I will consult, but Tina knows my handicap. She comes right in. I'm like, this is what I want. And she came right in. And we're talking about like the ages. I wanted a mature man. And then if he was a coach, I thought this guy would have been too young to be a coach. I think I wrote him in to be my age. She said, "Oh, there's some coaches that are younger," so it all worked out. But I knew his story was going to be bold because I knew there was a Nye who existed, and I think I understood Nye, but I understood how this would be entertaining because lots of readers would not. So I definitely have my questions prepared for you guys because again, we've never discussed it public. I think we did on Facebook, but not like live where I was contributing per se the whole way. But I will say I got a lot of flack for this installment. Uh,
Really?
oh, no one liked Nye. They, the whole beyond the booger, the nose picking thing. They did not like her. They didn't trust her, and it was similar to Jade, but it was I don't know if I caught more flack more Jade or not. They did not like Nye. And I feel like after listening, I didn't want it to end. When I was listening to the audio, because this is what we're discussing today, the audio experience. Um, I feel like after listening to them, I think they did a wonderful job. Like they did a wonderful job. But I will say, and I'm gonna have to repeat when they get on, they softened these two. They softened them, and I'm not offended by it. I'm not mad about it at all, because I think they made them more palpable to people who did not receive them well. And I heard that a few times online, like hearing it in that dimension. Well, experiencing them in that dimension, which is listening to them. They were like, I got some things out of it I didn't get when just reading. So when the audio project first hit, I got a lot of that. So I think it worked out well. But I as I'm listening and I'm like, Nye was sticking to her guns, or Lawrence wasn't apologetic. He wasn't hesitant, because they are who they are. And I definitely wanted to have the discussion with you guys in terms of, because a lot of my sister readers thought, Nye was deceptive, and and we know Nye was worldly. I didn't view her as deceptive. But I guess my first question to everyone would be, how did you guys, those of you who read it when it was first released, via ebook or paperback, and then you listen to the audio, did you have a different experience, or was it the same experience? That's what I want to know.
I don't know, because I read it a while ago.
That was in 2021, a very tumultuous year for me. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember, but I do know that there was some flack, and it felt like everybody, all they cared about when I would hear something was the nose picking, not, the boogers, not her substance. And in listening this go around, y'all go ahead and answer, and then I'll put it up. In listening this time, like really taking your time and listening to it being acted out. Nye, to me, when she first was at the bar and working, that was freedom for her. She was escaping her home life and the strong thumb that her dad had on the entire family. And she saw Lons and was attracted to him and liked him and all of that good stuff. So for me, I don't say I understood, but I could relate to what she was going through. Yeah, she coaxed him into some stuff. She pushed him into some things, but I didn't see her as manipulative. And every time he said that, when in the present time, it was pissing me off. Like, stop saying that to her.
The thing, I think Nye was manipulative, but was she malicious? Was she malicious? And I don't think she was malicious. I think Nye saw something she liked and she pursued it the best way she could. I didn't get any malice out of it. Khalees says, I never thought Nye was deceptive. Nye and Lons definitely read differently from book to audio. Okay. Yeah. I thought so too. And by the way, happy birthday to Danisha Bolden. This is Audiobook Girly, who keeps me thoroughly entertained and supported. Happy birthday. She had a birthday a few days ago, so I didn't want to forget to say happy birthday. And we'll have Midnite say happy birthday too.
You want me to pull him?
Yeah, let's pull him in.
Okay.
Yeah, let's pull him in. Hey, Midnite.
Good evening. How are y'all doing?
All right. Thank you so much for coming.
First of all, I want to jump in and say Nye was manipulative, and it was malicious too. I disagree with both of y'all.
Oh my God!
And secondly, okay. I'm mad I ain't got a Connecticut Kings jersey.
Oh yeah,
and I ain't know who was doing that. Y'all should have sent this.
CCJ. I know right? CCJ did it, so I'm gonna have to tell CCJ to give you the hookup.
Well, Indy Love, we're gonna have a conversation. Her and at Indy Love for sure. Till I said what up though. The mic is on.
Yeah, right. Now that we know the mic is on, do you want to say happy birthday to Danisha, who is Audiobook Girly on social media?
Yeah, hey, Audiobook Girly all the time. What up, though? Happy birthday. I would say
Yes.
happy
Oh,
birthday,
that's
Alyx.
audiobook girly.
Absolutely. How you
Yes.
doing?
That's my girl.
Girl,
She's
I
I
so
love
mad
her.
love.
me
She's so
too, 'cause
mad
she
love.
has been
Oh, does she?
promoting.
Mad love. Extra love. So
She been
enjoy your
promoting
day.
stuff. I mean, she on a countdown. I love it.
I love
Happy
her. I
birthday,
love
girl.
her completely. I love
That's
her.
real.
So when I reached out to Midnite and I'm like, hey, do you remember? Because we got Midnite working. Do you remember Lons and I and Love's Encroachment? And he came back. Yes, I remember Lons and I. I am very much familiar with Love's Encroachment. And I do have something to say about that wild story.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's
he was
a lot going
straightforward.
on.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on
So,
in there.
uh-oh. Oh, ooh, that's my my Alex. Um,
hey,
so
Niagara.
I want to know.
Alex calling me out saying I'm hopping in early. I was like,
I
no,
know.
I had something to say. So what up,
Yes,
Alex, if
mic
you
is
watching?
on. Okay, wait. I'm sending
I tell
the
her
link
email
now.
her.
Yeah, I think we should have gotten that straight. I meant to get that straight because I think there's a disconnect.
With the email too.
Yeah, I think so. Because yeah, I did not address that at the end of our last chat, but we'll get connected. So wait a minute. I had to remember what Midnite said.
He said he thinks he disagrees about.
No. I'm talking about what he said when he said that it was a wild story. He appreciate the age factor in it, because he can relate to it. He said, but they were a wild story. So Midnite, let us know, what did you think walking through that journey?
I think just it was so many levels and layers to it. You can look at the and first of all, how's everyone doing tonight? Glad to be here. Really, I can't see who all here, but I just love y'all anyway. But just great, well written story as always.
Well, thank you.
First
Thank you.
and foremost, and so happy to work with Alyx again and in this space. The LBU, just doing our thing, but just from the beginning, it was real hot. Leading in with the scene in Paris, I got to use my French accent real quick a little bit. Got to went to work. It's so funny because again, I tell people I really after I submit, it's I'm on to the next thing, so I really don't listen to it. So my wife, she downloaded it and she started playing it. I was like, who is that, right? And she was like, she's like, wait till you hear this, right? Because I forgot I did it, right? You know what I mean? And she was like, I hit it with the. She was like, oh snap! I got to pull up Bible and get my French together. You know what I'm saying? I got to get I read. You know what I mean? But anyway, from the beginning, I think his story, unfolding the way it did, with that particular element of it, and that kind of coming back up like a bad tweak when it came to his relationship with TB, the quarterback, Trent Bailey, right? You know what I mean?
Let me tell you something. I don't mean to cut you off, but I told Love this when it first came out, and I'm a Trent Bailey girl. Love Trent Bailey. I was so disappointed in his behavior.
Yeah, he was.
I was like, what the hell is wrong with you? Like Trent.
Yeah, Trent was doing the most.
I was
it's like, and again, this was my introduction to him, right? I have no previous, relationship with the guy, but just I walked away with a bat. I'm like, why you got to make it so hard for my man? He's really trying to make this all work. And the trait that I loved about Lon so much is he's successful, right? And successful people try to do their best to do successful things in all environments, right? He had success in college. He's trying to bring this to pro. You know what I'm saying? So, and this dude everybody seemed to be making it hard a little bit for him. So, and Trent again, the chief among those. But I think, just watching his arc throughout the story, lines that is, being exposed to 9. Like I said, I just think, from then to now, right, to the present, I think she just used, that relationship, right, the hold, I guess, the enchantment that she had on him, because she was, I looked at them like, okay, she's the little free spirit, right, the little girl with the flower in the ear, right, when they were kids, and he's running around trying to be serious. I want to be, a man, right?
Yeah.
He's real focused, it seems like, and she's in the, just it keeps coming into the picture, right? And I think it's the same way as adults too. Even when we find out, okay, Zoe's here, right? And again, that's another thing too, right? I'm like, man, if somebody came back with with a random child on me. I'm like, I don't know if I would have handled it that well. You see what I'm saying? I don't know if I could do it. Can I talk about the book all the way like this?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Because again, where was she at in not telling this man he got a baby? You know what I'm saying? Who's now what, 20 something, right, in college? And another thing about that too, as a successful football coach, had a successful career. You look at your son; he ain't that good in sports.
Did you catch that Midnite?
Yeah, I'm like, man.
I was listening to that earlier because I did not want this book to end. It just went too fast for me.
Yeah.
And when I don't remember a lot of this stuff. So you guys are telling us the story to me as is. I mean, some things I remember, but oftentimes I don't. My sister readers will tell you. So when I heard you today again say the coach I hooked him up with is phenomenal. My son, not so much. And the way your voice dipped. And I was like, "Oh my God, he picked that up!" Yeah, because he's not gonna go to the NFL.
He's sorry. I'm like, and again, how do you manage that, right? Like, you can't feel like a failure because you wasn't there, but at the same time, you kind of got to, like, you know what I mean? Because the genes.
What if I was there?
If
how
I
much
knew,
better?
Right. So you kind of feel bad. I feel bad for the kid. You know what I mean? In a lot of respects.
Yeah. I do have a question though, because I feel like you were leading here, and this was one of my questions, and certainly I don't know if it was Danisha, someone mentioned it. When you first met Zoe, did you think he was complicit in this? Did you think he is so nice, he is too cool, he's too easy peasy? Were you suspicious of his motives? Did you think
I never
he had
got that? No, I never got that from him. I think he was just, as young men sometimes do, right? And it's ironic that we're talking about this after Father's Day, right? Because I'm I've had a kind of a challenging relationship with my dad, just want him to show up, you know what I'm saying? So I think a lot of what Zoe, the energy that he gives is, I just wanted somebody to show up for me that wasn't my mom or my granddad. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I wanted to know who my dad was, you know what I mean? And I think that kind of reveals itself in a lot of, the things that he says and, the things that he does throughout the course of, again, my introduction to him and his story playing out in concert, right, with Lance. He's trying to figure it out too. And now he's trying to figure out all this stuff.
All of it.
And he's new coach. He got his.
And then on top of that, how Zoe has so much of Nine's personality. He does not have Lance's personality. He has his mom's personality. So it's just like, how do you take in something that you don't want? You want to reject. That was a lot. That was a lot.
I think I will kind of, if I could, I won't disagree with you. I will say, I've never looked at it like Lance not wanting Nye. I look at it like, okay, she just left, right? So there was a vacuum in the space where he couldn't figure out what he felt, right? And now again, coming back with all this information now, 22 decades later, right, with a kid in the play, you still don't know, right? There's still a lot of ambiguity in terms of how that plays out. So yeah, very complex, very layered, and again, I had a time getting through some of this stuff, for sure.
I also was thinking about that too, because I believe.
So before you go there, love, Lisa's like coming for y'all because me and her both. She's like, she couldn't tell him Midnite, and then she was like, she didn't just leave voluntarily.
But he didn't know that, and he had to accept that truth.
Right?
Yeah, he had to accept that truth. But what he did know, and this is where I was trying to go, he recognized that betrayal feeling. So it was kind of hard for him to get through that layer in order to get to know her, because the bottom line is they didn't know each other at all.
Sure.
Right.
So I loved Midnite, how you delivered him. Lance is very laid back. He's very laid back, and his thing is, I know you ran game on me when back in the day, but I'm a grown man, and I saw that in him. The way he took on his relationships, he's not lying to anybody. He had them all lined up. This time, this slot my room, and he had a safe life. Everything, it was just a totally different Lance, who was so humble and so laid back, and he was so straightforward. I totally appreciated that.
Sure, and again, it's like to that point, right? He's over here chilling. He's trying to do a job. He's trying to get and again, it's I think it's all of us, right? In space, we want to get the job done, but then these people come in just take me off my track, right? Because when Nye came, he had to find out. When Zoe came, he had to find out. He had to find out all this stuff. Then he finds out his son got a little joint, knocked up over here. You know what I'm saying? He's sorry at football.
Boom,
you know what
boom,
I'm saying? He wanted an apartment. He ain't told his mom yet, so he got to be in that too. Like, I don't even know you, dude. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and he had to jump in and be a father. He had to jump right in and be a father.
At the same time, he's trying to father all these young men on the football team, right? And build relationships with men. Right, you know what I mean. So it's a lot going on in that man's world where he just wants to, like, you know what, Doc, I just want to chill and play coach football. You know what I
mean? Yeah. And then we can't forget when he slept with Tanisha Lane, who was married to an NBA player. I don't write that in books anymore. But she was married to an athlete herself, and poor Lons didn't know. Lons was being Lons or whatever. So all of this stuff in the media, dealing with Trent, this judgment. It was a lot, but I felt like he coasted through it. They got through it. And as for so many layers that was in their story, they didn't further complicate it, because Zoe could have been like, middle finger to you forever. I don't want a relationship with you. And maybe, I don't know, because Nye just came in being Nye. I just have to say this about Nye. I was telling him earlier, I feel like you guys softened them more than what I felt for them. Yeah, but you made them more palpable. Like, you made them digestible. Whereas when I did it, they were like, she's so cold-hearted, because Lance was not apologetic. He didn't hesitate in anything. Like, dog, we're going at this at my pace. Like, I get it. And Nia is just like, she said it. And Alyx ate that part. She said, when he came in with Sandra, they went to an art something in Philly, came back in, and Nia's in her boy shorts or her booty hanging out and making tea. And when Lance goes upstairs to check her the way he should have, and she said, I am who I am. Like, I'm sorry, I may be out of line, and with you, apparently I'm territorial, but I am who I am. And sometimes that's a retardation in us. Sometimes, especially when you get a certain age, because you ask me, even 45, even like 20 years ago, I know who I am. I'm still that same woman. I know who I am. I know I'm not perfect, and I don't want to be in a space where I am pushing people off, but I'm not going to quell who I am either. So that is my imperfection. So here, you see my imperfection. So I thought, I felt like Alyx ate that, but there was like, I don't think Nye was, I think she understood the situation is messed up, but I also didn't expect to catch feelings for you again. So I think that complicated, their relationship in terms of identifying who they were in each other's lives now with his son, because I don't think she anticipated being attracted to him. She didn't want anything from him. She just felt like she needed to tell this truth. She was being released, and she could tell this truth. So I do have a question for everyone. Was it appropriate for Nye to have broken the news to Lance the way she did? When she called and she got Monica?
Well, I think it was appropriate, but I'm looking at the comments, because I want people to answer that question too. But I'm looking at some of the comments. It's like, let's not forget about, she lied about her age. And then Boom is saying, absolutely, because I could not stand by booger picking self.
Hey, Boom.
I think we forget. We are so judgmental of women that we forget what she went through and what her house.
And she was freaking 17 years old. She was a kid, so she's not going to make the right decisions.
Right. She says why she lied, to how she met him and why she lied. She had to keep the lie. This is me. The love loves when I say this. This is Jocelyn's opinion. This is Indy Love's opinion.
Here we go.
She had to lie. She had to keep the lie going because she lied to get the job in the first place. She lied about it. She was in a military town. She said it. I know how to get fake IDs, and we forget that her household was tumultuous. I'm saying that word wrong, I know.
You said it right.
Her mom did not stand up to her dad like she could have or should have, or she was scared. Everybody was scared of this man. She was scared of this man. And then I also feel like Nye had a soft spot for her dad, even though Janice kept calling him a monster, and she knew he was somewhat of a monster. But I think she had a soft spot for her dad when she followed him and saw what his job was to break people. So sometimes when we read and then we just form these opinions of the female or male character, we forget that they're giving us their backstory as to why they are the way that they are.
And that's where I come in with my storytelling, just to have conversations of what made someone who they are. Why do they make the decisions they make? Who are they? And I love talking about parents, right? You got to know where you come from to know, what's in your DNA, what shapes your decision making. And Nye just had so much going on. Jess, you made a point about something I wanted to feed off of in terms of her father.
His career, what he had to do.
It was definitely about his career and how you said Nye followed him.
Yeah, the night she said she followed him
and saw him beat the guy with the belt. Yeah,
he saw how he was breaking a recruit or whatever. And that was his job, to break them, and it explained why they moved so much more so than the average military family.
And that made her worldly. Like, she learned the tricks. Like, she learned how to get fake ID. She learned how to talk to people. That's what it was. How I felt bad for Nye. They say be careful of the strong ones, because when they think you're strong, they never come to aid you. Because even Janice and Lon says, when Lon had to apologize to her at the end of the book, I just never saw you as weak. I could never see anyone intimidating you. I can never see anyone. And how Janice ran down all of the incidences from their childhood when Nye was about to fight someone or did fight someone, and how Nye stared the monster in his eyes. And it's sad because they didn't understand that she was functioning in survival too. She's not as strong. She's still a woman. She's still a girl. And Lon saw that. Lon saw that even in their intimate relationship. Like, this savvy woman, she ain't got no bedroom play. Like, she's not. This is where I can up her. She can't get ahead of me here. And that part was just like hilarious to me. But yeah, I think they went hard on my Nye, because I don't think, Midnite doesn't agree with me. I don't think she was malicious. I think that girl saw him and she saw she could get over him. She did. She saw she could get over him.
That's not malicious?
No, because she wanted to be with him. By any means necessary.
I don't think.
When she was a kid?
I don't think
when she was a kid.
I don't think.
What did she want?
He was a part of that whole, like, to your point about the come up, right, and surviving and getting by. He was another vehicle to get by, in my opinion, right? And then something happened that triggered a different kind of behavior, right? And so
what happened?
I think just leading up and walking up to the pregnancy, right? You know what I'm saying? That we would eventually find out about, right? There was a lot of stuff that she was just doing, like the apartment, him kind of, giving her that and just giving her that space. And I'm like, dude.
And when she said, "I'm not a girlfriend material" or something like that, is that what you were trying to?
Yeah.
Because when she said that, I felt bad for Lance, because I was like, that messed with my head, and I'm trying to go back. Well, where was she mentally? And maybe her thing was this. I'm lying to you, and I don't know if this is going to catch up. Like, I don't know if that's what she was thinking at all, but I just knew. I didn't think it was malice, because she just saw a guy she wanted to be.
Maybe malice is, maybe I'm being a little harsh, excuse me, in terms of how I'm conveying my sentiment based on being in the, in the interplay, right? But I will say, to both of you, to everybody's point, I believe there's a big part of her that's just trying to survive, right, and trying to get by based on, again, as Josh said, like the elements that she was like kind of landing in, the parenting, the the moving, all this kind of stuff, man. It's like, it's hard, man. So I get that part, right? But I still, like, I'm like, man, as the guy, right? You know what I'm saying? I want to know about, as the guy, real Midnite, and as Lons, you know what I'm saying? The sentiment on my end is like, come on, you can wait this long to tell me, you know what I'm saying? Right? Let me know something, and I think
that's fair.
I don't think I can excuse that. That's I guess that's how I.
No, that's fair. So, like Boom is saying, I get protecting Lons, but what stopped her when she lived out of state and from under her father? She's a whole lawyer and couldn't better articulate how to tell Lons he's a dad. So let me say this before I wait. I just want everybody to always think: is there something that's ever a lie you've told, or you kept something, and you just, it's like the fear of bringing it to, and I'm not, trust me, I am not justifying.
I'm with you. She was a coward. She just did not have the heart. In her mind, Lons was started his life. She said it, had kids and everything, and she never dealt with the truth. She was a coward.
And then, even though she figured out that her dad was lying, he still had a hold on her. When she even admits that she followed him everywhere they moved, she moved too. She followed her dad and her mom everywhere. I don't know if it was part of it to protect her mom from him, since everybody is gone and that wrath could have went strictly to the mom, or if the fact that he had such a soft spot for Zoe that she kept that to, like, I feel like there was so much more that maybe we just did not know. I have, and trust me, there is no justification for not telling him at all. But
and I think that's when we see human Nye. We don't see cunning Nye. That is her. That is her humanity. She's not as strong, because that's a lot to bring at somebody. Whether it's 3 years later, 5 years later, it's easier to avoid that truth.
Yeah.
And then why does she feel so free? This is what made me think that. Like she said, he ain't even dead, or he's not even in the ground yet, or dead, fully, gone. And you called and left that message, because she was free to do so without any.
She was playing. She was like, I'm gonna do it. This is it.
I'm free now to really, really do this without any repercussions.
And I can relate to that, because going back to the whole idea of the parent relationships. I was raised by my grandma, right? And she always told me, don't hate your parents regardless, right? And for the better part of, for her life, her entire life, I was nice to my parents, right? And when she passed, I was like, there was things I could get off my chest now, I felt like, you know what I mean? In a real genuine and sincere adult way, you know what I mean? That out of respect for my grandma, I felt that I never did. I just never talked about it. So I can certainly understand that perspective.
Oh yeah, and I think I can relate to it too, because my daddy was a piece of work. He was an absolute piece of work, and I would still respect him. And the few times that I did, like this is enough, as a grown woman, this is enough is enough. I then felt bad and would cry that I snapped and went off, because this is still my dad. You know what I mean? So maybe that's where the soft spot for Nye comes in. The manipulative of her father.
But I get it for both of them though, even with Lon's parents, right? When Zoe shows up, you know what I'm saying? It's like his dad just kind of, forgets about, Lon's in a way. You know what I mean? There's a disconnect, and that I'm like, wait a minute. So what's this story about? You know what I'm saying? Because again, I would like
when it's easier to grandparent than it is to parent.
Now this is what pissed me off with Lon's. Because it was like, our dad and to Nye, our dads were similar. Your dad didn't respect him. But then when she said that to him, he was like, my dad wasn't abusive and da-da-da-da.
But
it might not have been physical, but it was verbal abuse. Down your career choices, what you wanted to do, all of that. Girl, why?
And everything was a problem. Like it felt like every time he said something,
he was not good enough. He was not good enough. So I've seen.
And so I'm sorry. And Zoe was like, he didn't even know the kid. You know what I'm saying? He didn't even know him, right? But he still had mad love for him. And again, to your point about it just being a granddad thing, maybe, I don't know, but it just felt I felt bad for him, for Lons, in a sense, in that space.
Khalees, her dad did have a boy. They had a brother. They had a whole brother
that disappeared. He wasn't like Nye. He disappeared more than Janice even did. Yeah. I do have a question though. Do you believe Lons was naive in the second act? Meaning when they met back up in life, do you believe?
Me?
I didn't. Yes,
me. No,
I'm asking everyone.
No, she was just she was the spin the block chick. Right, you know what I'm saying? Because he had a stable, right? Just based on what I inferred and read and saw, right? So
it was true. It is true.
So he had him lined up. To your point, he had him. I'm gonna do eggs with her today. She's gonna come over. Boom, we're going to Philly. Blah 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 blah. She was just part of that whole mix, right? You know what I'm saying? Even when he found out that Zoe was the son, it was still like, okay, she's just over there. You know what I'm saying?
And for a while, he wouldn't even address her. Yeah. He wouldn't even. He would not even acknowledge her.
He was very clear, like on where he stood with it. You know what I'm saying? For for the better part of the I guess the build up and the crescendo of how things eventually landed for both of them in terms of coming back together and whatnot. But yeah, he was very clear on where he stood with it for the better part of that process.
Can I just tell you, I was at an appointment.
Listening.
And I had my earbuds in my ear. I was listening. And it's quiet where I was. They had music going, but it was quiet where I was. And I was at the part where they're at the house having dinner with Trent.
Oh yeah.
And he goes into about, you slept, that's my friend's wife or whatever.
Yeah.
And when Lex and Jada, like, everybody know they both for the streets.
Yeah.
I ignored it. Like, I'm in this quiet space. And I started cackling, and I was like, oh, I'm sorry. Let me.
So here's the thing, like with that whole scene, I was like, yeah. So that whole scene, I had to read it, like, and normally I'm in it, like I'm going through it, because I want to be surprised a lot of times, like to read it. So in a scene like that, when I realized what it was, I was like, you know what, let me hold up and read through it and figure out who's doing what and what the, what I'm saying, what the energy is, right? So to your point, that made me laugh too. I had to stop a couple times, I'm like, yo, they crazy in this joint in the house.
You can visualize them like,
yeah.
Yeah. Like, this is what they do, And when it happened in the beginning, in my mind, when we figured out it was Ty, like, oh, this was Ty's get back. Something Alton done did.
Yes, we all knew that.
Both for the streets, so she got to look back, you know what I mean?
Yeah, she getting her lick.
That's what that was. Yeah.
And I do believe, for whatever reason, that's it being leaked. I believe Ty did.
Absolutely.
Thank you. I wanted to ask because I forgot. I feel like we had a conversation about it during the initial release. And when I'm listening, I said, didn't she do that purposely? I gotta ask them, didn't she purposely release that to get back at Alton?
I believe so.
Let me ask my queen voice of the LBU, Alyx.
Welcome. Hey y'all.
What up,
hey.
How y'all doing?
How are you?
I'm great. I'm so excited to have this conversation. But
I know you have
DMs already.
I was like, oh, 608, not him hopping on the car. Oh, okay.
So wait, Alyx, you remember Tynesha? I don't know if you drew the conclusion at first, but Tynesha and Alton, taking tips from Tynesha. One of your projects they were in more heavily. I can't remember.
The Prism series.
She's in the Prism series.
She's
complicated. Remember, she has her reality show and Ebony was, and that's what it is. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So Alyx, what do you have to say about
I got a lot
Love's
to say.
Encroachment, sis?
But before I dive into all the things I have to say, because I'm here to defend my girl. I just want to let y'all know that. But before I dive into that, I do have to just echo the conversation y'all were just having. The scenes when all the characters are at a dinner table together, my favorite. And it takes me forever to get through them because it's like multiple personality disorder. Like I'm just in here having bloopers.
Yeah.
I'm one person, but I'm in here having several bloopers. It should probably be recorded at some point. It is my favorite thing to do. Like those, my favorite love scenes to narrate, those are the ones.
I think you've said something like that before. Like
they're
when,
so good.
Even with the cousins, like with Raina, Sundria, Hayden,
yes.
You were saying you like their private conversations.
They're relatable, but also they're real life crazy. And I love it. I love it so much.
Midnite said that too.
Yeah, they be coming. And it's always one. Like they kind of take turns acting up. That you slide here, do a little subtle something here, and then somebody just wants to come out and be bold with the comment, whatever is being said, and then it's like, well, there it is. We were trying to be nice. I love it.
Let's go.
So Alyx, I don't think you need a starting point, but I want to just circle back to a question I asked earlier.
Sure.
Was it inappropriate how Nye reached out and told Lons about the situation with Zoe? The way she did it, could she have done that differently and better?
Her calling him as opposed to like doing something else. I mean, with them being estranged, I feel like a call was probably the only way to do it. Popping up, I don't know if that would have went well. However, I I'm defensive about my, you know, my black dads. I hate that she took so long to
Thank
come
you,
out.
Alyx.
You know what I
Thank
mean?
you. All right.
And so
That was
that
a
like
murder.
that is the I struggle with that one, even as somebody who was narrating her.
Mhm.
She is obviously a product of her environment, and I think she also is operating out of hurt. You know what I mean? Like she knows more hurt than she does love, and so her actually I think Love, you said this before I even read it. You said something about her being a survivor, and you know, when her back is against the wall, she comes out swinging, and I was like, I could see that. And I don't think it's viewed that way because she has what most would describe as a calm demeanor versus,
Mhm.
you know, somebody who's like constantly yelling or like, you know, wanting to get into it
Mhm.
or be
Mhm.
defensive. She's not
Mhm.
defensive about anything. She's
Mhm.
like, it is what it is, but this is what it is. So I think it
Oh
can
my
be
gosh, we
overlooked.
discussed that before you got on here because I felt like there even times where she should have been emotional or high strung in her delivery to Lawrence. Nye knew she was wrong, but Nye was still Nye. I'm wrong, but I'm also still me.
Yeah.
So, yeah, maybe I shouldn't be up here with you taking shots in your second home when I got this guy who just proposed to me. But I don't like him. Maybe I shouldn't be telling you about our intimate life or lack thereof
Mm-hmm.
because I'm attracted to you all over again. But I'm me. I am not. I'm going to be me.
Yep.
But Lon,
I
okay,
agree.
so then when Lon saw all of this and you taking these shots and knowing, I mean, and then all you said was you can't kiss me because you kissed him.
Mm-hmm.
But you saw her with her man.
Yeah, and he told her you deserve all the attention you got from the both of us today because I'm a player.
Yeah, I mean, again, it goes back to lines being lines too, right? You know what I'm saying? Y'all saying
True.
not being not, lines is being lines too.
Yeah.
True,
So
true.
if we take him out of that element of them, the nine lines element, lines is to your point, like he out here, he for the streets too, right? Like
He
the other,
is.
And
He knew
I
he
don't know
knew
if I
that
would
woman in
say
front of him was hungry. He knew she was hungry.
yeah.
Okay, Alex. Yeah,
it's
Alex.
okay. I don't know if I would say that Nye was for the streets in the way that Lons was. I actually think Nye had the opposite effect, like post their love affair. I think she shut down more than anything.
Oh yeah,
Which
yeah.
like a lot of single moms do, but I can see why people from the outside looking in think she's for the streets, but have I have this reoccurring thought because I narrate so many of your books, Love, and you write about manipulative characters all the time, but it's usually the men. And I think my philosophy is that the reason why people have had such a hard time, like really relating to her, one is always a double standard. People judge women harder. Like that we even
We judge our
ourselves.
own heart. Yes,
Yes,
yeah, our
100%.
own. Mhm.
But I also think it's because they're not used to they're not used to the I'm not gonna call Lons innocent, but like as far as their first encounter, right? He was the innocent party. Quote that. He was the innocent party. But I think as well that I think somebody said it in the comments, like we forgot that she was a teenager. But even beyond her being a teenager, Nye is just masculine presenting. Like she went about this the way that a man would. Like if a man saw a woman that he was interested in, whether he thought he was good enough for her or whether he thought she was like whatever, he's gonna figure out what can I do to get her attention. Oh, you don't want my attention? Okay, well let me make this bold move. Let me say this. How can I finesse the situation? You know what I'm saying? And so she had a little game. That's all. She had a little
That's,
game. That
that is it.
can't be mad at her having a little game. And at 17, you should be able to have game and play around. And neither of them thought they were gonna fall in love and make a baby.
No,
But
no.
I really feel
Can I
like
jump in? I'm
just,
sorry, Lons was
yeah,
in
go ahead.
love on sight. Okay, he was in love. Okay,
Think he
he
was
was
in
in
love
love
on sight.
on
Wow.
sight.
He was.
I
I
think
think
he
so
was
too.
very much so in love with her on sight.
I
To your
think
point, Belvin,
by the when it was all said and done, I think he did fall in love with her.
for sure.
But you think on sight?
I do, because I know I'm a hopeless romantic myself, amen.
I don't
And
want to say it. I didn't want to
And
say it. This is
when
why
I
you
seen
eat so well with these rolls for
when I
Tobias
seen
and Alon.
when I seen my wife, it was love. All right, don't
Yeah.
even worry about it. But
Aw.
so I know that I know. To Alex's point though, just from I, got to get her to see me. That's what hit. So I'm looking underneath all that, the interplay between them to see that kind of stuff too, because I know he wanted to be seen as much as she wanted him to notice her too. You see what I'm saying? So I think there's a lot of that between them, but I think just off site, he was like, "That's the one." In some of these books, they say, "I seen her, and that's my wife right there." You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna say he's saying all that, but I think there's a lot of a strong sense of passion for their future, right? When he first started, you know what I mean? That's what I felt.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what I felt.
Yeah.
I could be wrong,
young,
but that's what I took.
young, naive Lon.
Young love.
You ain't
I
never
think
had
even
none.
like forever. I'm sure most of us on the call have watched it. And me being me, I went on a deep dive, like, oh, this Judy Blume's book. And I found out that it was like, because I didn't know about it, but I found out that it was banned in all these places because the fact that like the teenagers were having sex and all this. And I was like, maybe a different time, but I think teenagers been having sex. You go back far enough, teenagers was having babies.
That's how I got here.
Right.
Teenage love.
But I think I do think in the most innocent of ways that both of them were just like experiencing this young love, and I think both of them for the first time in that way. Nye's problem is that she had a huge like defining part of her that she didn't want to reveal. She had to keep two worlds separate, and I think when you think about like shows like Power, right? You take like a ghost who's like teetering two worlds. It's very stressful. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not absolving Ghost. We don't get into it. I'm not absolving him of all his things, but I'm just saying, like, if you have to code switch so deeply and so often, it is very stressful. And I think you do like the stakes are high, and you kind of start to behave without thinking. Like it becomes this second nature for you to just like keep up this lie. It gets easier and easier and easier. You get better and better at it. And you want to protect one world from the other one. Because I think she's embarrassed about her home life, but she also knows if her dad finds out about what she's doing with Lawns and with this job and stuff like that.
And I also think she had a plan, Alyx, because she was turning 18. So yeah, she lied to her concession, but she was probably in her mind, I'm gonna plant my feet here. And then when she went home that night, Dad said otherwise. But I think they had a true, pure connection, if we want to call it being in love or not. I do believe Lance towards the end did fall for her. I think with her, she was just like, this is my guy. I'm here. I'm good here. But they had a true connection that dang, that scene with Lance when he found out when he saw the moving company there.
Yeah,
and
that was crazy.
That was
hurt. I was like, I was hurt. Like,
man.
I was hurt right over here, reading. I was like, man, because that took a while to get through as well. Because I remember I harken back to things like, in the fifth grade. I never forget. I had a girlfriend. Her name was Denise Jones. Her first girlfriend.
Denise.
I was in love. This is all part of Liza's DNA, right? And I remember I was in love. I gave her a little chain for a birthday, little cheap fake joint. Probably turned the neck green or whatever, but it was love, right? I was at a birthday party, right? It was love, right? And the end of the year came up, and she gave me a note. I was like, man, I was all happy and stuff. And like, I opened the note. She was like, I'm moving to California. I'm from Florida. She's like, I'm moving to California, so we got to spend all our time in the fifth grade. We ain't going to middle school together. I went back in the coat room and cried so hard. They was like, yo, you good? I was like,
so that took you there.
Like when they was moving, I was like, wow. That reminded me so much of that feeling of like, just what do I do now? You know what I mean? And so that helps, again, just for everybody paying attention. That kind of stuff, brings that out of us, because we don't even think about that a lot of times. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But to do stuff like that really helps us kind of channel and hone in on what we need to do to make that scene work, for sure. But yeah, I think to Alex's point, she was trying to balance so much, but at the same time, him, right, singularly was looking at her like, yo, drooling, like mouth watering, in love. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's what I felt like. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And so when he seen that was like just the earth shattering earthquake. The thing split open. He fell in, and his whole life is done. Right? And I felt that so much. It was powerful.
That was crazy. I forgot all about that. And when I got there, I was like, wow.
Hurt.
Alyx, I want to say you changed voices again on me. You were literally, nearing middle age. I don't know how old you are, but really sounding like the mother of an adult child when you were getting with Zoe. You know, when you were like, and who she come to stay with? Don't she know why? Why don't you have something going on? Like, I don't have a problem with Gina, but Gina, I'm trying to do something with my son, and we're navigating a whole bunch of stuff, and you want to be needy?
Look,
Gina was getting pesky.
When she said, when Lons was like, they're gonna live here and we're gonna help him,
girl.
She said, "Who said that?
Who said that?" And Lon said, "I did."
Like, okay. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed mothering a son, a grown son, because there's been a few other characters who've had younger children, but it was cool to have a older couple and just kind of travel through time with them. And you know, that reminds me of something. I know I'm not the host, so you could put me back in my place if you need to. But I was listening in before I hopped on, and you said something about us making the characters softer, and I think I want to hear more about that. Like me reading the book. This is my first time reading the book when I narrated it. And it's, I mean, like, you know, we have our little conversations before, but it ultimately is up to us how we portray the characters.
And now it is. It really is, because I don't think they were new to me. I just think at times when you guys started perceiving them to fall for each other, we were on the same page. But I still think Lance was like, and F you, I'm letting you stay here. And yeah, I want to sit with you, but F you. I feel like he was still feeling that way. And Nye's thing was, even and it's difficult to say this because I listened to it 3 times, so I can get into this pocket to explain it. I feel like even when that wedding scene, the night of the wedding, when I was coming and she was coming with her gloves, like, play with me if you want. When she said, "You're making this hard. Why are you doing this to me? Like, you're making this hard for me." She felt the way you sounded. She didn't say it that way because Nye, like you said, has male energy, but she felt that. So I think the feelings were there. I think the delivery was just different because you guys took the cues. They were falling like we were. You got it. And let me tell you, the book was so good. I think this is the first audio book, and you know I've been in love with several, but this is the first one I didn't want it to end. I'm like, wait, can I have a reward? This was really, really good. I listened to it about 3 times. I listened to it top to bottom, and then I went like to the second quarter, and then went down, and then third quarter. Halfway, and then I went down or whatever. But no, I think you guys took cues. And you knew what was going on, and you delivered them the way that you felt that they were being delivered. And I said to myself, this is why the readers had an issue with you, love, because you were too harsh. This is supposed to be a romance. Yeah. And here, Midnite and Alyx is giving them a romance. They're putting it out there with their emotions. So it was just towards the end of the book when they were, in fact, falling for each other. I just think they were still like.
You think they would have been more guarded?
Yeah.
Okay.
But your perceptions of them was great. But let me get on to something I do love. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. No,
I was just gonna. Okay, go
ahead. Hey, real quick, Alyx, what you think about them Connecticut Kings jerseys that we don't have?
You know, the thing is, I was trying so hard not to be petty with you threw the ball in my court. I like.
We gotta have a conversation with Ms. Jones and what's it
Fridays. You know what I'm saying?
No, not with us. CCJ, you got to have a conversation with.
We're coming for all y'all.
You know, I hear you, but I think I spend a little bit more time with y'all.
There you go.
I just like it was up to y'all to be like, oh, don't forget.
Well, Josh, this is your fault, Josh, because I had on a black shirt, and when I saw when Josh had on, I did.
Still had one though. You still had the
Yeah.
jersey
I was
though.
gonna say, look, you can't really
Available.
just put it on her like that.
It was like
had the
it was like
jersey.
hanging on display in my closet. I said, "Oh, Josh, I can go get it."
I ain't
And
got
look,
one. Guess what? We ain't got
Lakeisha
one in
said
our
she
club.
got one.
Yeah,
So,
because
all right, we'll talk.
okay, so let me, Alex and Midnite heard me when I said it. CCJ, we were on a chat with her, and she had it one on, and we were in the comments like, "How can we get one?" And she went through this whole thing of, "Oh, I don't know,"
They're
and we
expensive.
all
They're costly.
they were costly to make, and we were like,
Mm.
"We ain't broke bitches over here, girl. We want one."
Mm.
So we
That's on
Well,
pushed her.
Josh was wearing hers one day, and I'm like, "Wait, why don't I? Where did you get that? Why don't I have one?" Because CCJ sent me a regular long sleeve tee. That wasn't what I had, so I had to call her up like, "Yo, what's up with these jerseys?"
Let me
Send
tell
me a
y'all
link.
I'm
something.
not
I'll
mad,
reach out. I'll reach
and
out.
I'm not picky. If I had a long sleeve tee, I wouldn't be upset.
Yeah,
But
because
you know, a jersey wouldn't.
I
we
got you.
family right now.
I
You know
am
what I'm
a
saying?
diehard Steelers fan. So when we have jersey days at school, you're supposed to rep your team. I am a
Okay.
Steelers fan. Baby, I put this Connecticut King jersey on, and they were like, "What
Who
team
was
is
that?
Who
Don't
is
worry.
that?
Don't worry.
what
You don't
team?"
understand. You
I
don't
really
understand.
Right.
like, it's a different time, but I just
Right.
really feel like this is the perfect opportunity to three-way CCJ
Yeah.
and put her on the spot.
Bring her.
Oh, let
Bring
me
it to the.
see. She's
Bring it to the
Like,
she's
hey,
stage.
my
if you
nephew.
could just hop on real quick
Bring it
because
to the
we want to
stage.
know what's up. I'm sure there's people
I'm the coach.
in the chat who
Amen.
want the
Let's go.
details.
While Love is doing that, another one of my favorite scenes was when they were all at the house. And we have seen bits and pieces of Janice, I think, before. So then to put it all together with how crazy she is, because I
Oh,
really
right.
wanted Lex to jump over the table. And I wanted Lex and Jade to tag team her, is what I wanted. And Alyx, you killed it when she was like, "I'm leaving. You're not getting ready to put me. Nuh-uh. You I'm out of
She
this.
said, I got a grandbaby to go prepare for. I'm not
I
with
ain't got
this.
time for you and your shenanigans. This is my man's, these are people that he works with. These are his friends, and you're not getting ready to screw this up." And how Janice was just still so, come on. When she told Lex, tried to indicate that Ezra was cheating, I was like, I'm done. I am so done. I wanted them to whip her ass so bad, I don't know what to do.
Ezra would never have it.
Oh my gosh. And and Jade is gonna help her. Jade's gonna jump in. She's not gonna pray for you. She gonna help her jump you. So when I like the way Alyx maneuvered through the scene when Lance had to be a father, step in and be a father and break the news to her. And he tried to take care of Nye first by sending her the text to say, "Hey, I just want to give you the heads up. No matter what I'm about to say or what's about to happen, I still feel the same way." Because he didn't want to blindside her, but he knew he had to like break the news. And he came in there and he told her, and I felt the calm in your voice, Alyx, and the mother in your voice, and how it wasn't over dramatized. Like, I'm not happy, but this is where my dad went wrong with me and Janice. I'm going to stand here with you. I'm going to stand by you and I'm going to support you. And I felt, and that was a really short scene by the time we got back to Alyx, back to Nye. But I felt your delivery was just like, this is what I needed. I can identify this. I will not allow my emotions to override my behavior. Zoe, I got you. And I was like, wow, that to me was a very, very powerful, both of them, when Lon started and Nye finished. And I was like, wow, that was really good.
I thought it was admirable the way Lance took over, because I don't think Zoe was ever going to open his mouth and say nothing.
He was scared.
That girl was going to be 7-8 months before he
in the hospital.
Right. They
Zoe
was
was
going to be
nervous.
dodging
Okay?
all the way, and Lance was like, "I
Yeah.
got to make a decision." I thought that was very, like you
That's
said, to be
father.
into this situation, to be now I'm a dad, I'm gonna be a granddad, and all of that, and I got to take this on because my child just don't even know how to do it.
And I think when I left town, because I think emotionally it was becoming too much for her, so she went back home to stay with her mom for a little while. That gave Lons the space he needed to think and say, "This, I want this." But we gotta move about it differently. We gotta clean this thing up. And he's a coach, so similar to Ishan, Alyx, he knows how to navigate through different, challenging personalities and situations. Where he
Right.
came in and said, "Look, we're just gonna have to do this." Now, what I will say is probably where I was just like I wasn't ready for the book to end because I was not, was when Lons had to break the news about boning Zoe's mom. And Lons just casually walked away. And I'm like, no, I want to go too. What are we going to do afterwards? And we had the epilogue, don't get me wrong, but I'm like, no, this can't be the end. Like we're just getting started. Yeah. And even then, Nye was just like, I just felt I felt the emotions, and this was like so grown up because this was my grown up project. I told you guys that, but I felt that too. So I'm like, I'm feeling things in between the lines because I saw Nye there saying like, here's another screw up I did, but hey, we're here now. We're gonna have to just figure it out.
I admire
So Papa,
that.
yeah, but Papa came home and Nye, when she was dismissing the baby, like, okay, you can have the grand, but it's Nye's time. And Zoe said that. It's Nye's time. And you felt that. I was just like, okay.
Yeah.
Even your child knows you're an alpha. He called her an alpha female.
He did.
I caught that today too.
Wow.
Yeah. I think you keep saying you didn't want it to end. Of course, I didn't want it to end either. But I think that kind of mirrors like reality, right? There's a lot of stuff in the air that still has to be figured out, and it will it ever be figured out? We don't know, right? You know what I'm saying? Circling back to, I spent Father's Day with my dad, right? It was a good start to maybe a different kind of journey that we've had, but I don't know where it goes. So I think that's the beauty in it. I think that's the beauty in it, not knowing for sure. But yeah, you don't want it to end, but it's going to end at some point.
Speaking of which, good spot, good space. This was written in 2021. We're in 2025, and Coach and Naya mentioned, when they're like when they're mentioned in at least my last CK installment, Love's Neutral Zone, Naya's view as the baddie baby's mom of Coach, but I don't think they're engaged. They're not married. Do you guys see that for them?
I think they'll be in true Nia and Lon's fashion, like taking their time to do it. But I think they do it. I think it would be a thing that just kind of happens one day, not something that they necessarily plan or like make a big to do about. Like it might just be like, let's get married. Okay.
Because the way to Alyx's point, I certainly agree with what she was saying. Is I think Nia has resigned herself, much like she was trying to do at 17, to the idea that that's my guy, right? That's my man. That's my forever, right? It's just a matter of how do we get to, what, not even how do we get to what, what is the delineating factor that stamps it, right? To make sure, to let everyone know that's my guy. Is it marriage? Is it a certain kind of move that they make that doesn't involve marriage? Or what is it? What is it, right? But I think to Alyx's point, they get the marriage though, because I think they're both in that mindset a little bit.
And I think if I can say what maybe holding them up from that being a big deal is the fact that they are grandparenting together. Sure. Like this is a new world for both of them. And I don't know. I mean, I'm going to revisit them, not in a book, but in someone else's book. Because I think you're right, Alyx. I think at some point they're committed to each other. He gave her monogamy. I wanted to ask this. Midnite said in a story, he said, Coach got game. Do you recall that when we started promoting this chat, Midnite?
Oh yeah, for sure.
What game? What game were you referring to?
The game he learned from Nye.
Boom. I'm done. I ain't got to say it.
My bad.
But no, because I don't know what you were referring to, because Nye had the game that Coach got. You know what I mean? But
I think Coach got game. That phrase was really summarizes his entire perspective on life, right? You know, he knew he would figure out his relationship, for example, with TV, right? Trent Bailey. He knew he would figure that relationship out because he knows what success looks like, right? I think, you know, getting bumped and bruised in life, especially with Nye, right? I think that taught him a lot of what he needed to know and how he manages his relationships with women overall, right? You know what I mean? So to say it's game, maybe.
Oh, my mind was going someplace dirty. I'm sorry.
Nah, I'm not gonna say I'm not. It wasn't a dirty thing. It was I know how to do. I do this, right? You know what I'm saying? Whatever it is,
Yeah.
I do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And to Alyx's point, he got a lot of that, you know, from being let down by Nye early on. So I think that kind of shaped where he is right now in his 40s.
No, Alyx, that was very profound because it is the truth. He put up guards after that, and I think he talked about that towards the end of the book when he started seeing the therapist and saying a lot of how a lot of the ways he shaped himself regarding, you know, relationships with women was because of this incident where he felt betrayed. He was definitely he definitely got hurt. So the game he had to learn from her is how he moved about relationships moving forward. I feel that. I feel it.
And I know you was going somewhere nasty with it. You know, all them stories you putting up about love and black love. Yeah. I'm playing. Go ahead, Josh. Sorry.
When he had to tell Nye that you've been traumatized, you have trauma. She didn't see it like that. Like her dad had, like he said, he encroached on our future, on our love, on us raising our child, of us being together. It was like a light bulb went off. I don't even know if the light bulb went off then when he was like, you need, and then even when that part, and when he told her to have her conversation with Zoe about your trauma, like tell him
your story.
As his grandfather on this high pedestal, he never saw that side of him, but tell him. It's like all of that stuff. She never really. She kept so much deep down in her, and that facade of, like her sister said, you're strong. She didn't recognize that she had been traumatized by their dad.
No, most survivors don't. That's the trickery. Yeah, that's the trickery of the brain.
Say something about that?
Go ahead.
Of course.
I have been toying with this idea lately. It's really easy, I think, especially with today's culture, including like cancel culture and things like that, to hold people accountable for who they have been in a phase of their life, or, you know, even if that phase was like most of their lives. But I thought it was really interesting, you know, even though this was written in 2021, which I feel like was maybe sort of like on the cusp of cancel culture, you know, like we were still kind of like getting into it. Like now I feel like we deep in it. But I have been really just grappling with redemption and forgiveness and, you know, like what I believe and what I don't believe. And I think that the problem with cancel culture is, you know, not really about money or anything like that, but more so that it removes the ability for someone to redeem themselves. And, you know, those of us who are spiritual or have a relationship with God, that is pretty much everything that we've been taught. And I'm 100% here for boundaries, right? Like somebody hurts you, they put you in a place, they trigger you. When you see them, you probably don't need to see them. At some point, you do need to work through some forgiveness for yourself, not for them. But I do think that the terrible things that people do shouldn't be the only thing that defines them, right? So like, as mad as I was at her dad, I actually think, Love, I text you. And I was like, Love, this book started off crazy. And you were like, does it really? What happens? I said,
I forgot.
He really just, you know, and I was reading it. Like, I know I didn't read what I thought I was reading. And I, you know, I just, as a woman and as a Black woman, I take issue when anytime a Black woman is hurt. But I think what I'm working towards personally, not saying this has to be anybody else's journey, is not judging somebody just by who they are in their terrible moments, right? Like still allowing them a little bit of humanity, still allowing them to be multidimensional, which is how he was able to have that relationship that he had with Zoe. And why that relationship with him was different versus his kids. Maybe it is the grandparents thing, who knows? But he got it so wrong, like so terribly wrong with his kids. And I would like to think that his opportunity with let me shut up.
We go.
Wait a minute now.
No, we're gonna come back. That's good, Alex. I want to come back
I
there.
wanted to comment
But
on that too.
thank you, babe. Listen, you know I got your back. You know ain't nobody coming for you unless they're coming for us. But they kind of punked me. Oh, no.
She fell out. She got scared. She got
It's okay.
scared.
She'll be back.
She'll be back.
I think I was having a conversation with a mom, and she was saying how she felt like if anybody had judged her kids in their terrible moments or their, you know, like when they just made a bad choice or whatever, she, you know, would feel really bad about that because that's not all of who they are, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, of course, we all have terrible moments, and 100% children are very different from grown people. But I do think that there still is this deep childlike part of us that, you know, maybe doesn't make the logical choices and doesn't always do the right thing. And I don't think that that could be easily forgiven. Mm-hmm. But I do think that I would like to see us as a society move away from cancel culture and a little more towards, you know, empathy and forgiveness and healing and whatever tools these people need to redeem themselves to help them turn around. They don't want to redeem themselves. I can't help you. But if you're making an effort, I think you should be able to.
I want to come back to that because I want to bring in character for that conversation.
Okay.
So redemption here is, babe, look, you know I got your back. You know ain't nobody coming for you unless they coming for us. But Midnite and Alyx punked me into telling you to come onto this chat because we're wearing our jerseys.
All I said was,
we
were three-way. Call her.
Unmute your
and figure out what was going on.
Sorry. I've got cello practice happening in the background.
Let it play. Let the music play.
I did.
We need to hear what you got to say about these jerseys not being on our bodies. Okay, we need jerseys. What's going on?
We can make it happen.
Jerseys, babe.
So,
I will absolutely.
I could be a large. It could be an oversized jersey.
Send me the Addies.
I told them that I hit you up one day, like, yo, them jerseys. I know I got some here. Why I ain't got one? And she's, oh, babe, I got you. It was here 3 days later because I was like, y'all looking all good and hers representing, and I'm like, where's mine?
Always.
But nah, that ain't no problem. Well, I don't know if I should reference him because he be doing some stuff, but I'm gonna do it anyway. What Shannon say? That ain't no problem. That ain't no problem.
Right.
While we're here, I can't let the day go by without acknowledging that Offensive Formations was released today.
Yes.
Wait, was it?
A part of Yep. Offensive Formations was released today, and it's available. You know, somebody listen to it because we got a review already. Look,
go get it.
Yeah, you just reminded me I need to go post about it myself. So let me get on my job.
We're gonna do it though. We're gonna post about it.
I wanted to show you guys. This is the first thing she sent me, and this is why I got confused because I'm like, I don't think that
one thing is not like the other.
One thing is not like the other.
I wear this. I didn't wear this for over a year, and I was like, you gotta wear it. So I wore it a couple weeks ago. But yeah, that's bae.
So I just wanted to let you know personally. Well, that's nice too. You got the towel.
I don't even have a towel.
Anyway, that's
I'm
all.
sorry.
That's what they wanted.
The baby came in.
Let me see my baby.
This is crazy.
Babies are welcome here. But yes.
What are we doing?
Hi, DJ.
Hello.
What's that? Is that a balloon?
He's so busy.
Okay.
Live your life.
Constantly
Don't stop her.
busy.
We just wanted to tease you about the jerseys.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
But no, seriously, send me the addresses. I will make that happen. That's no problem at all.
All
Yeah.
right.
Thank you so
All right,
much.
we'll
Really
do it.
appreciate it. Congratulations on all your success for sure. Love you.
Thank
All
you,
right.
thank you. Bye, y'all.
Yes, yes,
Wait,
we do
hold up,
love
hold
you.
up. I'm gonna see. I'm gonna meet some of y'all at
Absolutely.
Indie Love this
We are.
weekend, aren't I?
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll
Look,
be there.
Yeah.
everybody. You're gonna
I
see
see you.
everybody.
Everybody.
Yep.
All
All
For
right.
right.
those of
Bye,
you who
y'all.
All
did
right.
not
Bye
want
bye.
Love Encroachment to end, you can get a little more Connecticut Kings by just going ahead and you ain't got to pre-order. It's available. Offensive
Yeah,
order.
I didn't
I'm
even
about to
know
go
that.
post about it right now.
Mhm.
Look, and I got a credit sitting there waiting on cue.
Right
Like,
there, waiting.
Hey.
Waiting.
All right. Bye, y'all.
All right,
All
take
right.
care. Take care.
Can
Bye.
you say bye bye? You want to say bye bye?
Bye-bye.
Oh,
Bye.
oh,
All right. Bye bye.
Her
Alex,
coming
I
on a
think
call
that's
in
a
her
great
jersey is
point.
diabolical. That's
Um,
crazy work.
I'm here just loud and rude. Alex, that was a good point about how we judge each other and how we should consider that when we're going into these, into these fictional worlds. But I often like to focus on character, right? So yeah, you may make a mistake because that's what all of my clients are littered with. They're all fallible people. I try to distinguish character. What are the decisions that you're making over and over and over again that's establishing a
Right.
character for you? Now, if it's a
Mhm.
mistake that you made and it's not really your MO, but hey, we need to express some humanity, that's one thing. But when it becomes a character issue, like Tanisha and Alton, like that's you guys just don't want to get it together. Like that's why you'll never be on my couch. But if it's a mistake about, you mishandle the situation like Nye did with Zoe, then let's talk about it. Like let's talk about redemption. So I thought that was good.
Yeah. I think on the other side of that, I think for the offender, right? As somebody, for example, who cheats on somebody, right? There's a great space to learn from that, to show empathy for people who do that, right? So if you're, I'm less offended by getting cheated on, for example, right? At some point in time, if that ever happens, I doubt that it will, but I think the experiences that I've had in certain areas help me be better prepared to handle certain things. To Alex's point, show empathy, right, and offer a space of forgiveness, because I've had to ask for that forgiveness as well, right? So yeah, I think all the points you made, Alex, are great. LB obviously killed it. But yeah, I certainly agree with the stance and the position for sure.
Yeah, I get it. And I think that's a huge topic when you're talking about romance, when you're writing romance and expressing how you can work through some things, work through the flaws.
Yeah, it's a
I
process.
agree because I feel like one cannot exist without the other.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like you I don't know. I told you this recently that I spoke to somebody at the Black Romance Book Festival who was traumatized. Love, you didn't traumatize her. But
They didn't breathe. Yeah.
but I think in general people are generally stressed out by your characters. But it's
Thanks,
what
Alex.
makes them so investable, if that's a word. Did I make that up?
Mm-hmm.
Like you can get invested because they have taken you through the ringer. We have been there and back, and so that's why I love you so much, and that's why I can look at you and be like, I really was mad at you when you did X, Y, or Z, but I love you still. And I think that's a testament to what true love is like the relationships that last the test of time. It's not from a place of weakness, it's from a place of acceptance, and even beyond that, embracing who the other person is. And that's what is true on the pages of these books.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
oh yeah, she'll take you through it. I was so
What?
grateful when I came into Love Belvin's world. Lip was already completed. I didn't have to wait.
Mm.
I didn't have to be traumatized after each book because they were all out and done. And then, as much as I will say, I'm not gonna read, I'm gonna wait. It don't happen. I try, and it does not work. It's like I got to see what did she do? What did she do? What did she do? I think
Really?
my worst trauma, the worst trauma from one of those books really was Ezra. We haven't gotten to that book yet,
Mm-hmm.
but when well, most people have read it, right?
I think Alyx is done with it.
But I could when Lex leaves and Ezra falls to the floor and says Abba Father, and as a Christian woman, I know, or Jehovah, whatever he says, I know what that
Abba,
means. Abba
Abba,
Father,
Abba.
I know what that means. I was like, no, she didn't. Oh my God. Oh my God. And we gotta wait till when? Oh, I'm gonna die before this. She gotta come correct.
Yeah,
So
they
yeah,
were saying that about the Sadiq series too.
Stressful.
very.
I think my first series having to wait, I've been fortunate. My first series that I was introduced to the LBU was the Wayward Love series. And then the first series where I had to like really wait for a book to come out is the Complicated series. And I was like, can you tell me though? Like, can I know where we going next? Like, I just, let me prepare.
Yeah, but they're waiting on that. They're waiting on that, and they're waiting on Sadiq to finish because of how book one and that ended with her running back to the Mason Beach home.
Yeah. Gotta get
Mhm.
gotta get that together. You know what I
It's
mean?
about to be
Mhm.
What's
good.
coming up?
This person said I could have never waited to read Ezra. I've been hospitalized.
Oh, Akila don't play. She don't play about no Ezra.
Can we
But that meant
can we talk about Lons as a grandfather? Because I think that was a again like I guess men of a certain age, right? I'm getting to
yeah.
that stage of thinking about what that feels like, but to see him kind of embrace that, and I think understand his father's perspective on Zoe too, right? I think a little of that played into. Again, in their interaction didn't really kind of show up towards the end that way, but his interaction with his grandbaby,
Granddaughter.
I was like, he's something different now, right? It's like Phoenix rising. I don't something happened, right? You know what I mean? In him to let him know, okay, this ain't even that important, man. Yeah, we won the championship. All this other stuff is going on.
He was
Was
gone.
But
out.
I'm over here, man.
Today.
And I think he got that. I think he got the disconnect between him and his dad versus his dad and Zoe. Right? I think he understood the love. It's a different love. I don't even know what it
Different
feels
love.
like, but I could feel it emanating from the book when I was reading him. Her laying on his chest and all this kind of stuff. I was like, wow, this is a different.
It is different. It is different. I have a younger sister who we're 14 years apart, and she came to stay with me when I was an adult a couple times. And she will call me the second mom. Well, now she's a mom, and I was really hard on her because I knew the circumstances we both came from, and I'm like, yo, if I could do it, you can do it. I was really, really hard on her. So when she had my niece first, so she had a girl, and I'm very traditional. And when my baby came over, would spend her Christmas with me, I bought her press on nails, I bought her fake makeup, and my sister went, you would have never let me have those things. And I said, no, I would have. But this she's here now. She's not you, so it's definitely a different kind of love. I don't have grandkids. I'm too young to have grandkids.
For sure.
Yeah.
And I want grandkids at this point.
I know. But that's okay. That's all right.
Yeah. But I appreciated that element though, because again,
it's very sweet, and I think it's wonderful because I've called my mother out on so many occasions. The first time was she got married when I was maybe 18, so I inherited some siblings, and for the youngest sibling for his 16th birthday when it came around, he got an iPhone. And I sat there and I said, I know you lying. Because this is coming from the 18-year-old in college who had to write a proposal about why I needed a BlackBerry. I ain't mean to age myself like that. But I had to write a proposal about why a BlackBerry would elevate my education. You know what I'm saying? And this was before phones were $1,000. I said, you got him an iPhone? And then she was like, if you want an iPhone, I'll get you one too. And I was like, well, I ain't got nothing else to say to it. But it's 100% like that. And you know, Alyx doesn't have any children, but in my real life, my oldest, he is my mother's best friend. Best friend. And I mean, she be trying to give him all the things. She's respectful. She doesn't like, you know, feed him anything I don't want him to eat. But like, she's like, but can he have this though? Because I really want to get him this. I bought it just in case you were going to say yes. Like, okay. Grandparents are something else.
They are.
Shout out.
I often say that my mother loves my child more than she loves me, and he loves her more than he loves me.
100%.
Are like this, and they'll both go, that ain't true. And I feel like behind my back, they'd be like, it's true. He can do no wrong in her eyes.
Yeah, and like I said, I was raised by my grandma, you know, so when I saw that element too, it was like, I felt that tenderness because I experienced that tenderness too. Because she was
Midnite.
Here's the thing, she was a hard woman, right? She, you know, I don't know who on here, but she didn't like white people, right? You know, she was a racist, right? She was all these things, right? You know what I'm saying? That really rough, right? Love, really hard woman, right? Because she had been through it, right? You know what I mean? And but when it came to me, right, it wasn't always, you know, nice. But it was a tenderness to it every time. I tell people she was the first person to talk to me like I was a human being, right? She respected my opinion because something happened at a council meeting, and she came home just like, this is how I feel about it. What do you think? And I was like, what? You really care about how I feel?
I follow.
Yeah. So it was that relationship. So when I seen it, I was like, he's gonna get there with that baby too. You know what I mean? There's something a grandkid can give a grandparent that the parent of that kid can give that parent.
And give it to him. Yeah.
Ooh, love. So that was 21, and this is 25. So she's
Nye would be 39. Nye would be 44 now. No, 43. Nye would be 43 now, if that's what she was calculating.
Yeah. Your math checks out.
I actually remember when I knew I had to write the epilogue. It was before I knew I had to write the epilogue, but I remember sensing. Okay, go ahead.
I was hoping all y'all didn't get cut off.
No, we're here.
We're here.
Okay. So you were saying what age is she now? Were you referring to Nye?
Yeah, no, the grandbaby.
Oh, Alondria. Alondria will be 4, right?
4. And can you see him with this 4-year-old
wrapped around his finger?
Every practice, all the meetings, at the mall, in the bed.
And I wonder where does that put Nye? Because when you've lost so much time, when you look at your son, you lost so much potential time, and now when you get the time back, and now you got to share it with another female energy. I wonder how Nye is dealing with that. I'm sure she loves her grandbaby. I'm sure she, you know, but even from the epilogue, when she was saying, okay, I gave him his time with her, so come get your child. It's my time now. So I'm wondering how is Nye balancing that out?
I think she's doing all right.
I think
enjoy. Go ahead,
I think because it's also her grandbaby, she doesn't feel a way about it. But I think she's good at setting the boundaries. Like I think she's a person that's good at being like, okay, it's my turn. Bye.
Look, come get y'all baby.
And I think she will keep that energy. But I think as soon as she feels filled up again, she's looking for her grandchild.
I think you know, in that ecosystem of them getting to know or reacquaint themselves with each other. Zoe, for Lines too, and just that whole space. I think, you know, there's both of them have the ability, right, to Alyx's point, to set those, you know, boundaries and understand like, okay, this is required of me right now. If this is going to go somewhere with me and I'm talking from Lon's perspective.
Mm-hmm,
This is going to go somewhere, right? I need to put in that work too. You know what I'm saying? With that, right? As much as I love my granddaughter, as much as I'm trying to get to know Zoe, as much as I'm trying to be successful with this football team, I have to be able to, you know, find that energy, that same energy, that same love, that same passion to pour into Nia as well. So I think they both can accomplish that for sure.
Yeah, I hope this tale just presents to us how, even with Alyx was saying earlier about giving grace and not canceling people, how life is already complicated. Don't further complicate your life. Because like I said, with as many layers that was in this book with everyone, my clients and sub characters, that unit, you know, Lonza's family, Nye, Zoe, Gina, Alondria, there could have been so many ways that they all could have further complicated it. Like there could have been, like, what if even Gina was saying, I'm going to stay with my family. I'm not raising my baby in Jersey. I'm going to be with my family. And for Zoe, what if that was an issue for Zoe? And they're trying to get, you know, as a creator, I shouldn't be saying this publicly, but I have to get you guys together to work with you because you have to be in proximity for me to work out the kinks for you. So Zoe needed to be with his parents. And even towards the end of the book, I remember, was it the end of the book or was it at the wedding when Lance told her, I want you to spend some time in Connecticut too. Like I need to open myself to, we need to spend more time together. And I just love how we started off with a difficult situation, but they did not further complicate it. They just fell in line with making the best out of it. And in life, it will be so much easier if we can do that. So much easier. And with therapy, they did it with a professional too. So yeah, this is good, guys. I'm telling you, I was just like, I did not want this thing to end. Lance told her, Zoe was my leash. I don't want no man to be my leash. I need a woman to be my leash. And you're telling me you want monogamy. Like, we got to bring this together. So he went straight home. He didn't care how they were celebrating. And he knew his prize, his gift was back at home.
Because you laid out what everybody else was doing, right? Which I thought was a great, I don't know, spectrum of just, you know, the emotions tied with the responses to the, you know, the emotions of winning and everybody doing their things. And he was like, you know, and I could see it, like him just, you know, getting in the car, you know, walking to the airport and like, you know, man, fuck all that. You know what I'm saying? I ain't on that. You know what I mean? Let's get on this plane, get home, and, you know, let me clean up and get on my grown man, you know, shit. You know what I'm saying? That's what it felt like. And I
and
really
even when he said he was exhausted, right?
Yeah, for sure.
But he wasn't ready to go to sleep. Like, cause the excitement was in being with his family. Yeah. Like he knew he could get with the laundry at some point, but that's who they served him. Well, Nye and her manipulation made sure he had time there. Okay, now it's time for us. And then her further manipulating him when she told him that she took a job in New York or something.
He was playing. I was like, you better stop
and
playing.
The way he said, that ain't what you were supposed to do. She told us that we were supposed to talk about stuff. You ain't supposed to just do that.
Yeah. That's what I heard. Like the way you just said, you supposed to come together, right? You know what I'm saying? And figure this out. Because again, in his mind, it's a thing, right? You know what I'm saying? Hasn't been defined. It's based on what we got, the information we have so far. But in his mind, it's like, yo, for real? You know what I'm saying? And so, yeah, that's a good point.
What is this? Yeah.
Before we wrap up, love, just this one scene, of course, because I listened to it today. Was it today or yesterday? He would have never been with Kamek because her mother was too wrapped up in her life. Brush at night. I wanted to jump through the book and be like, "Oh, lady."
That was wild.
And in front of my son.
Right now, Alyx, I love the way Alyx, you hit that scene on that nail on the head, because the way it was, even Slick Nye seeing the moving parts before her son saw it, before Lance even saw it. Like she was like, I am going to keep this as drama free as I can. She's an old, like, Nye knew how to work that situation, and she was like, come on, boy, help me take this trash. And I don't even think she's ever taken the trash out. But the way you navigated us through that scene, oh my gosh, Alyx.
I was mad. I was mad for her.
Right.
I did. You just hit my mom.
Right, yo, lady, like, who are you? What are you
crazy?
Right. As he should, because what?
Right.
I have a question before we
Yeah.
wrap things up, because you know the nose picking and all that was such a big deal for everybody. I want to hear from Midnite about that. Is that
Oh.
is that a deal breaker for you?
Oh no,
And
not at all. Like once we're in the pocket, we tight. Like like Turner saying, we got to be tight. You know what I'm saying? Once we tight, I'm good. You know, there's nothing that can push me away other than you. You know what I'm saying? Doing something crazy. But that kind of stuff, man. You know, nose picking, farting. You know all this kind of stuff that happens, right? It's love, right? It's all
That's the
love.
way I read it too. I was like,
Yeah.
I mean, people be picking. Like,
Yeah, you know. My wife look at me crazy
Yeah.
sometimes. She's like, "What you doing?" I'm like,
I'm being human. I'm being
You know?
human.
"It's going
Yeah.
down right now."
On the
You know,
last
my
call
day.
we were on, I told them Midnite, I was like, my auntie would be the first person to be like, well, how else she supposed to get it out?
That was her. That's how she thought through rolling, and she's just thinking. But I want to say,
And
guys, this was
Mhm.
so good. Oh my gosh, Midnite, the way you brought that smooth, unmovable, unshakable, yet vulnerable lines to us, like it was just like for him, things were simple, even when everything in his world was complicated. You gonna say something?
No, but that's me in real life too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So much like all the characters that I've been able to voice, there's a part of me in each one of them in a real big way. So it was a natural thing, right?
I just feel like I was with you guys. I feel
Yeah.
like I coasted through this with you guys, and not from the author's perspective either. That's what I'm saying, because even sometimes I'm thinking like, she didn't deliver it that way, Alyx, or Midnite. He was not that emotional. I wasn't the author. I was with that ride. I did not want this book to end. I ate this book up like, I'm not gonna say, I'm a little embarrassed how fast I ate this book up.
No, it's cool.
But
It
this
helps
was
us though.
really good.
And can I say this though? It makes it a lot of fun knowing Alyx is on the other side of this interface of us coming together, right? Because now I finally got to meet her in person. At BRBF, and it makes sense, right? Because the chemistry, whatever you want to call that, it was there automatically.
The synergy,
yeah. But even
I can't wait to meet
That's
you guys.
the word, the synergy.
Yeah.
Those that get it.
Yeah. And so it's not hard over here, because I know on the other side of this, it's like we riding to the same, in the same, we going in the same backseat, going to the same drive-by. I mean,
Exactly.
Alyx, you were once again, Alyx, amazing. Alyx is just like, love, give me the cues, and she takes it from there, and she gets into the characters. And I thought you were darn near middle-aged woman with an adult child. Like, I'm thinking like this was not a Shira. I did not hear those things, and I was just, you guys were at the head. You guys are at the wheel. You guys were. I was in the back seat, and I did not want it to end. So kudos to the both of you.
No, thank you. Great.
Thank you so much.
You set it up for us to do what we do, and we really appreciate just the opportunity for sure. Alyx, they say we work. I'm taking Miles's place as your work husband. So
I told him that. I said, Miles used to be my work husband, but I don't know. They keep putting us together. I don't know.
He kind of got hot when you said that. I ain't trying to call nobody out. He got kind of hot when you said that, but it's all good. It's all love, Miles. But Josh, real quick, I heard you. I was on here last time. You said, somebody else was your number one choice.
Don't do that.
And it's all love, but I just want to.
Midnite is toxic. Look at him. Midnite.
I don't know if I would call it toxic. I think he just bringing the alpha male energy.
I'm just letting you know, Josh. I'm coming for that number one spot one day. On God. So just
if I could get this next project done.
No, don't do that. No.
Now I threw your name. Love will tell you. I put all of y'all's names.
But what was the name of the movie? The documentary that just came out. First on the call sheet.
Number one on the call sheet.
Number one on the call sheet. Okay, that's what I'm trying
to
do.
Alyx, didn't you bring that up to me, Alyx?
I did. I asked you to watch it.
It's really good.
I heard it's really good. What is it on?
Apple TV.
Apple.
Yeah.
I don't have Apple. That's what it was.
But you know what? Do your little free trial. It's only a part 1 and a part 2. You can watch it in one day.
Oh, okay.
If you can listen to Encroachment 3 times.
Yeah,
can watch it one day.
I was like, yeah, you could certainly.
I don't look. I don't have the time. Y'all were just that good because I don't have the time to be sitting on.
Well, I appreciate it. That's
It's
love,
hard for
man.
me to even watch television, but my lover is he just opened up my office door and closed it. It's cigar smoke time. But what I want to say is, Alyx, you are Love Unaccounted. You have
Yes.
come in, and you have
I'm
lit.
wrapping up book 2.
Mm-hmm.
And
you're wrapping up. Okay, so you're not done. Okay.
No, I was planning to turn it in tomorrow, but it's probably gonna be Thursday. But and then Midnite and I we actually just got the production thread today for book 2. Yes.
That's why Midnite when he said
on that.
That's why I was looking at Midnite sideways when he was like, "There's some characters, there's some of him in all the characters," and I'm like, "Sadiq too, wait now."
Absolutely, I'm kidding. I told you, y'all went at BRBF. I told y'all, I told him at the panel we had at BRBF that I used to have dreams of being like a drug dealer, slash killer, so it's there. Right? It hasn't been realized, but it's somewhat deep within.
It's lying dormant,
Yeah, it comes
everybody
out
has that fantasy.
Yeah, so
well,
bring it out.
What I do want to include is the project I'm working on now is definitely Midnite for sure.
Well,
yeah.
I appreciate you. I appreciate you, LB.
Huh?
I haven't gotten there with everybody, but I appreciate you for letting me know.
Definitely. Right. And Alyx know me and her ain't gonna never part. That woman.
We go together real bad.
That's what's up.
Too bad, real bad. I love her, like for real.
I love you too.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for tonight, and this was really, really good. This was really, really good. Thank you for giving your time. I always say I don't want to keep you guys so long, but thank you so much. And Jocelyn,
and get on these books again. You know what I mean? But it's love, man. Like love, Josh. I'm playing with you, but we'll see y'all this weekend, though, for real, and we're gonna turn up for real.
We are, and if you show up in New Jersey, I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna call you out. I'm gonna feel some type of way. Don't show up in New Jersey, okay?
I'm going straight to the source. CCJ,
wait
I'm
going. Get hours before you wear yours again.
Don't wear it in my face. Please. You can wear it online, but don't wear it in my face.
Don't do me like that.
All right, so I'm about to get off here though. Thank y'all.
All right, thank you.
Thank y'all for great evening. We will see you all this weekend. Those of you who will be at Indie Love, we will see you this weekend. So
all right. Take care.